Good evening and welcome to the campus of UW-Whitewater. I'm Jake Donoho and alongside me is my co-host Evan Christman. We ask you to please excuse our momentary interruption of sports from your regular daily schedule. Let's get right into it. Tonight's theme is everything Hall of Fame related. A tinted past, what makes a Hall of Famer, so on and so forth. Evan, let's start with the hard question. Should steroid use be allowed in the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely not. My answer just shows that if you take steroids, that you're not good at your sport and you have to take drugs to become better. An example, Ryan Braun with the Brewers, he took steroids or PEDs to help his performance. He's may end up in the Hall of Fame. It's very likely that he will, but honestly, I don't think they should be. It's just, it doesn't belong, I don't think, but yeah.
I'm going to have to slightly disagree with you on that, as because a lot of ball players that have taken steroids were actually still very good. Now, let's take Barry Bonds, for example. Barry Bonds is very infamous and probably one of the most famous people for using steroids in the game of baseball, obviously because of his home run count. But you got to think on, he, I believe, still had Hall of Fame numbers before he began to juice up and everything like that. And as a baseball player, he still has raw talent just being able to make that good of contact with the baseball over and over again. I mean, obviously with his power, you see he's almost, in the early 2000s, he was hitting maybe like almost 500-foot shots, which is preposterous to think about for a baseball player, which the steroids, yes, obviously did help him, but in many ways, he was a great hitter too, because it takes skill to get the bat on the ball, especially when that thing's coming at you at 95 miles an hour. Now, not all steroid users that should have been in the Hall of Fame should be, because if you lie about it, such as Sammy Sosa did, and it still hasn't apologized for it or anything, and still hasn't officially admitted, I think that's a very low thing to do, because everybody knows that it happened.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Sammy Sosa is definitely a great example of a steroid user in the Hall of Fame. Another one that I would, or another example, I should say, that has had steroid use in the Hall of Fame, David Ortiz from the Boston Red Sox. He definitely used steroids with that power of his in Fenway Park, and he just, I can't remember if he apologized for it or not, but nonetheless, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly. It just goes that the baseball writers, they're very traditionalist with how they view the game and everything like that. They didn't want the universal DH and everything like that, but that's just their opinion. And as they move on with these players, Barry Bonds is out of the talk of Hall of Fame now, as he is now off the ballot. But what I see it as a missed chance to put one of the best hitters of all time in the Hall of Fame, even though he did use steroids, yes, which is not a good thing under any circumstances, but obviously he was a talented at his profession.
Yeah, David Ortiz definitely a good professional, and hopefully some of these other players in the Hall of Fame can get in without steroids.
Next up, we'll discuss what we think makes a Hall of Fame athlete. We will be right back, and please excuse this commercial break.
We'd love to show you what it's like to be a war hawk.
Come on!
Don't miss out on your chance to be a war hawk.
At UW-Whitewater,
You belong here!
UWW-TV has been an important part of the campus and community since 1980.
Not only providing on-air learning opportunities for broadcast journalists and electronic media production students,
but educating and entertaining our audiences with award-winning news, live sports coverage, original programming,
as well as dedicating the mission to developing creative collaborations throughout campus.
For more information, visit our website, our 24/7 stream, and like us on Facebook.
check us out because you gotta see what's on UWW-TV.
UW-Whitewater Athletics, a relentless pursuit of excellence across 22 sports, powered by a tradition of success. 20 national championships, 17 since 2002. 61 individual national titles. 24 National Athletes of the Year, 616 All-Americans, 115 Conference Scholar Athletes of the Year, 1,500 community service hours annually. Be a part of the tradition and join the Warhawk family.
Here at UW-Whitewater Intramural Sports, we have a motto: a sport for everyone and everyone in a sport.
Come on! Accepted anyways. Oh, she got that off, and they're going to count it.
Had a blast. Always have fun at intramurals.
Every day we strive to go above and beyond that goal by providing healthy exercise, promoting leisure education, and giving students that competitive atmosphere they are looking for.
Yes! Yes!
It's exciting. Brings me back to those high school days with Friday Night Lights.
With our 25 different intramural sports offered, we guarantee that we have a sport for you. Go to our website and find your sport today.
At the University Bookstore, we have an excellent selection of competitively priced books and classroom necessities for students. We have Warhawk gear ranging from athletic apparel to comfy sweatshirts the whole family can enjoy. The textbook rental service is also available for students to check out their required readings for class. You can also find and order books, apparel, and gift items from our online catalog, located at uwwhitewaterbookstore.com. The University Bookstore. We provide for your college experiences.
Welcome to Jitters Coffee House. Located on the first floor of the Wells Towers, Jitters is a student-run coffee lounge and offers a variety of coffee and ice cream-based drinks and is home to many entertaining programs, including live music, gamer trivia nights, and other performances. Coordinate your activity by emailing jitters@uww.edu. Jitters is completely run by volunteers who can earn service hours and even receive a free drink during their shift. Stop in tonight at Jitters Coffee House, where fun events and community come together.
Welcome back to Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruption of Sports from your regular daily schedule. Next, we'll discuss what we think makes an athlete a Hall of Famer. Is it the number of championships? Is it off-the-chart statistics? Evan, what do you think?
I think it's both statistics and championships. And one more thing at the top of my list, success and reputation combined. That's definitely a key factor in becoming a Hall of Fame athlete. One great example, I can think of Wayne Gretzky. In the NHL, just combined goals throughout season, played his heart out until he retired.
Definitely. I partly agree with you on that. And what I go on is the grouping of stats first, because a player's singular performance in his profession is what I think is what will stand out the most for him to be Hall of Famer. So, like, for example, take Dan Marino. Dan Marino never had a Super Bowl and was on the Miami Dolphins with, I believe, his entire career, and excelled at quarterback. It's just the defenses that he had to work with just were not enough to get him to a Super Bowl win. But he went down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of the 1980s and probably all time. I mean, championships do help to someone's resume for the Hall of Fame, and greatly, obviously, because you are able to literally be on top of the sports world when you win a championship, and it shows that you have worked the most and been the best all season. But I think stats are really bottom line is what you should look at if you think a player should be in the Hall of Fame or not.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. If I could ask you, what stats do you think those are that players could accelerate in?
So are we talking about a specific sport or just kind of?
Yeah, any sport.
Any sport. So in baseball, I would have to say batting average first, or possibly on base percentage. Kind of like on base percentage, a player gets on base 400. On base percentage is 400. Let's say that is probably one of the best you can possibly do. A player gets on base 3 out of the 10 times. He's batting 300, and you're going into the Hall of Fame if you play for a decade or so. And it's just something to look at. Also with RBIs, being able to hit the ball with runners in scoring position, because that's what wins you ball games. And people who win ball games end up in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, now that you explained that, I could think of a perfect example. DeMar DeRozan in the NBA on the Chicago Bulls right now just accelerates in all categories. Mid-range shots, three-point percentage, he nails every one of them when he shoots it, including layups. He just takes some crazy ones, free throws even. Just helps him out a lot, and he's definitely going to be a Hall of Fame athlete.
Definitely. In the NBA, your shooting percentage is one of the biggest stats, I would say, overall as an offensive player. For defensive, though, it's going to be blocks, steals, offense, assists, too, because assists get you points. If you can find any way in the NBA to be able to either score points or give your teammates the easy chance to score points themselves, that is what a team player is all about, and enough of that will get you into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. There's tons of players in the NBA that fit those statistics, from Giannis to DeRozan to even out west with Jokic on the Nuggets, just all over the U.S. and all over the world in that case.
Most definitely. And next up, we are going to discuss our opinions about the MLB Hall of Fame balloting process. After that, we will discuss what sports have the most fair Hall of Fame nomination process. Please excuse this commercial break.
On. Flip them off. 91.7 WSUW. 91.7 is a student-run radio station serving the Whitewater area with a variety of original programs, live sports broadcasting, community events, and more. So turn us on. 91.7 FM. Or stream us live at 917theedge.com.
UW Whitewater Athletics, a relentless pursuit of excellence across 22 sports, powered by a tradition of success. 20 national championships, 17 since 2002. 61 individual national titles. 24 National Athletes of the Year. 616 All-Americans. 115 Conference Scholar Athletes of the Year. 1,500 community service hours annually. Be a part of the tradition and join the Warhawk family.
As an Army ROTC cadet at Whitewater, you have the opportunity to develop into a great leader while learning and applying the Army values to your everyday life. Within ROTC, you have the chance to travel overseas in the CULP program to train with other militaries, attend many elite Army schools such as Airborne and Combat Diver, and you have the opportunity to attend conferences and guest lectures by some of the Army's top-ranking officers. Our Warhawk cadets participate in many extracurricular activities, Division III sports, Greek life, intramural sports, among many other team building and community service events. Being a cadet at Whitewater is more than just being part of the Army. It's also about being active members in our community and coming together to form a family atmosphere. Anyone who wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves while developing themselves professionally should consider UW Whitewater ROTC. To sign up for UW Whitewater ROTC, go to the 4th floor of McCutcheon Hall to room 417.
Welcome back to Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruption of Sports from your regular daily schedule. Next, we'll talk about Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame balloting process. Some baseball writers don't even want to vote. As it was once an honor to be allowed to vote on the ballot, now seems like a hassle to some. Evan, if a nominated player receives less than 5% of Hall of Fame votes, they get kicked off the ballot. Do you think this is fair?
I think it is, and this is my reason why, because it gives these other players who are maybe lower on the ballot, higher, whatever, a chance for them to get into the Hall of Fame, maybe a dream they've been chasing for years. Now I know Barry Bonds is still waiting to get in along with other players.
Definitely. For me, I would agree with that as well. Obviously, like guys like Barry Bonds, who, looking at their stats, although the steroid use is a problem, we're deserving, I think, of a second look at possibly getting to the Hall of Fame. But if you're just not getting the votes on there, and the baseball writers do not see you as one of those guys, then there's really no point in staying on the ballot, as you probably won't get in.
Yeah, true. I couldn't agree more. And then players like Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, those two, obviously for their respective teams, very good players in their time. I wouldn't argue with that, but I think obviously they're in the Hall of Fame now. But I mean, they use steroids. Sammy Sosa obviously lied about it, and now he's in. So it kind of relates back to the question, like, okay, if you're in the sport, do you take drugs? Are you naturally good at the sport, or do you need to take drugs to use it to get better at the sport?
I agree with you there, but the thing was, in 1998, when Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire had that home run battle going on, it really rejuvenated the game of baseball for a lot of fans. People started showing up to the stadiums more just to see these guys clobber on. Although it was unfortunate that they were using performance-enhancing drugs, it really rejuvenated the sport and possibly a whole new generation of people to get interested in baseball. Because during that season, especially when they were both in the home run derby, it was quite the sight. The big race to who's going to have the more home runs. They were just hitting everyone every day. I believe they ended up in the 60s in their home run count in that season, and it was quite an exciting thing to watch from some old video that I had seen.
Yeah, you can even add players like Mickey Mantle and David Ortiz onto that list too. They smashed home runs when they were on performance-enhancing drugs, and I think the whole steroid PED use opens up a whole new door to this generation, college kids that are coming into the pros. They might get their hands on it, who knows, they might not. But I mean, just from the standpoint of this new generation coming in, I would say, I mean, these are college kids. They're good if you look at the numbers, whatever team they're on. But I mean, don't use it. I mean, honestly, like if you use steroids, in my opinion, you're a coward, because just like you have to become better at the game if you take steroids. If you don't, you don't. Fine, you're naturally good at the game. Who cares? But if you take steroids, that just shows me that you're a coward, and you need to take those to get better at your sport.
Completely agree with you with that, Evan. If you don't take the time to really learn your sport, work at it, and try and take shortcuts, it's really not going to work out for you in the end. And next up, we're going to have some opinions on what sport has the fairest Hall of Fame balloting and nomination process. We'll be right back.
What does it mean to be a Warhawk?
It means allowing myself to dream big and think outside the box.
Pushing the limits of what I think is possible.
Seeing ideas through from start to finish.
Collaborating with professors and peers.
And seizing opportunities in the community to put my knowledge to use.
I'm studying abroad,
learning another language,
and listening to the stories of others.
I'm making lifelong friends and fearlessly sharing my gifts with the world.
As a Warhawk, I stay balanced,
take great care of myself,
and get out of my comfort zone.
I refuse to let the past determine my future.
And I'm taking confident steps in the direction of my dreams.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
And other times it couldn't be more exciting.
But I will keep my goals in mind
and never quit.
Because
that's the Warhawk way.
Video One Media Services provides accomplished students the opportunity to enhance their college experience by working with real-world clients. addition, we provide clients local and affordable video options to better enhance their media needs. For more information on how Video One Media Services can help you with your next media project, email or call our office at 262-472-5659.
UW Whitewater Athletics, a relentless pursuit of excellence across 22 sports, powered by a tradition of success. 20 national championships, 17 since 2002. 61 individual national titles. 24 National Athletes of the Year. 616 All-Americans. 115 Conference Scholar Athletes of the Year. 1,500 community service hours annually. Be a part of the tradition and join the Warhawk family.
Welcome to the University Bookstore. The University Bookstore provides students with the opportunity to purchase apparel, gift items, textbooks, snacks, supplies, and other necessities right here on campus. The bookstore is also home to textbook rental, where you can find many of your required textbooks. Our friendly staff always goes the extra mile to provide customers with a quick and pleasant experience. Visit the bookstore today to find great deals on everything you need to succeed as a Warhawk.
Next, we'll be discussing the Baseball, Basketball, and Football Hall of Fame. Evan, what are your thoughts on the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown?
I think it's a fair voting process. For baseball, I've had players who I've picked, in my personal opinion, who I've wanted to get in. But other than that, I mean, it's fair besides the whole steroid use thing. Personally, I think baseball is the best voting process out of basketball, football. They have the best voting process because baseball's an actual ballot, where basketball and football are just random players that people vote.
I'd have to agree with you on that one for the baseball thing. Another thing I wanted to kind of point out was that the Baseball Writers of America tend to be really traditional in their views on what makes a Hall of Famer, like we talked about earlier. And I feel like that with the different eras that come with baseball, there was the steroid era. Nowadays, it's pretty balanced out with pitching and hitting and stuff like that. Pitchers, a couple years ago, people were saying that the baseballs were being juiced with the high ERA numbers and the high amounts of home runs and everything like that. And the writers kind of need to take that into effect and say, like, okay, the reason that these guys took steroids was because it was just the time when it was popular. It wasn't outlawed yet in the early 1980s and stuff like that. Nobody had really known that it was coming into circulation with the players and stuff like that. And now it is the players' faults for choosing to take the drugs, but overall, it's something that's frowned upon nowadays. When take a look back, maybe 30 years ago, it was like, hey, here, this is just a little thing to help you, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Unfortunately, we have the Tyler Skaggs incident that just happened with the whole Los Angeles Angels thing, and then the Pine Tar incident with the pitchers recently. The whole Pine Tar incident around the AL, NL, where pitchers put pine tar on their hands on the balls to improve their pitching performances.
Yeah, if you take a look, especially I think that was earlier last season when the spider tack was kind of going around, sort of a new thing, and they actually had to, Rob Manfred actually placed a rule where every time a pitcher comes off the mound, he would actually have his glove, hat, belt checked by everything, and Max Scherzer even took it a step too far by sort of in protest from all the checking by pulling his pants all the way off on the field just to show that he didn't have any spider tack on him. Kind of a funny sight, but he was a little heated about that having to come off. I can see it as being kind of an annoying thing, but it's what they got to do based on the times, like I said before.
Yeah, definitely. I never heard about that Max Scherzer story until now. But for the whole pine tar steroid thing, I would suggest don't do it. It's stupid in my opinion. I mean, just relating back to all the things that we said, if you're naturally good at your sport, you're naturally good. If you take drugs to improve your performance, you're a coward. That's my opinion, but yeah.
And our last thing, who has the coolest award for being into the Hall of Fame? Mine, I'm gonna have to go with the baseball plaque in Cooperstown. It's just such a cool thing to have your head bronzed in with us around such great players. I can't imagine how cool it must feel to be with that group. Also with your Cooperstown Hall of Fame jersey with the red sort of Philadelphia Phillies looking letters, that's a cool thing to hang on to.
I definitely agree with you, Jake, on the Cooperstown stitching. That's very cool, but I'm gonna have to disagree with you on the coolest award. I think it's definitely the football jacket. You can definitely wear it, cherish it, remember it. That's exactly why you were entered into the Hall of Fame.
Definitely, the jacket is something I kind of forgot about, just that gold, it must feel so good to wear. But that's gonna do it for us here tonight. Thank you for watching, and tune in next time to hear more hot takes all around the world of sports. This has been Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruption of Sports from your regular daily schedule on UWW TV.